Everyone, today I want to show you a little eye warm up, specifically for athletes, but really anybody could work on this stuff, and it can help a lot of different things from balance issues to just performance deficits, sometimes even pain. A lot of this stuff we would be doing specific segments of this whole warm up for certain issues, so I'm not going to say that you run through this warm up and it's going to fix anything or everything all at once, but what we're going to do is go through this little warm up. And then I'm going to show you two sports in particular, one that I work with a lot, golf and running, how you can make it very sport specific. But all sports are going to rely heavily on the visual, the vestibular, and then the proprioceptive system all tied together to make us be able to perform as high as we can. And Sloan's behind the camera right now. I know she can attest to gymnastics. I mean, it's huge for just like spatial awareness, being able to cue, and let's say somebody's going, backwards, which way their eyes move in relation to their body and their head is going to be a big deal, and that can mess stuff up. So a lot of the times where maybe a skill with a gymnast, or maybe ankle instability in a runner, or lack of rotation in a golfer are present, a lot of it may have to do with the eyes. So that's why we're going to show you this little drill. I'm going to try not to look too creepy as I do this. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to go through, and someone's going to back up a little bit because you'll be able to see what I'm doing. But what we're going to go through is called smooth pursuit, then we're going to do gaze stabilization, then we're going to do something called VOR, which is basically your vestibular ocular reflex, and then we're going to go through the cancellation of that, which is moving our head and our eyes together. And this shouldn't take any more than 2 minutes, and I'm going to just give you brief examples. So for gaze stabilization, this is like when you go to the doctor, or you've had a concussion, and they basically are testing, can I look in all the cardinal fields of gaze? So if I just take my thumb, let's say I don't have a pen, right? So I'm completely out of my fancy equipment here, and now I got my thumb all the time. So I'm going to just start in the middle, and all I'm going to do is go up, eyes only, down, eyes only, make a cross, and this is only eyes. My head should be staying still, and then I'm going to make my diagonals, up and right, down and left. Now if you feel like you're getting some of this, we're going to take the opposite finger and hold it here so my head stays still, and we're going to do this twice in each range. So again, it'd be up and to the left, up and to the right, straight up. Doesn't matter which order you go in here. We're just trying to get those eyes to be able to track. Now the second part of gaze stabilization is actually holding in each one of these segments for 5 seconds. I'm not going to go hold in 5 seconds on each one, but what this would look like is up and to the right, eyes only, hold, back to neutral, up and to the left, hold, back to neutral, and we go through all of those directions, again, 5-second holds. So that's gaze stabilization. Now smooth pursuit is something we're going to test, like if hopefully nobody out there has ever been pulled over for having a few and then maybe getting behind the wheel. Super dangerous. But if anybody's ever seen somebody getting a field sobriety test done, they're going to have you look at a pin or their finger and track it, and they're looking for kind of like unwarranted movement of the eyes, which can be all sorts of, could be caused by all sorts of issues, neurologic, balance, having too much to drink. So for smooth pursuit, get that same thumb out there, and all we're going to do, head stays still again, and now we're just going to track through these ranges of motion instead of pausing. We want to move through like I'm drawing basically an asterisk right in front of me, right? So up and down, left to right, up and down there, and we go through that twice. So that's smooth pursuit. So we're just, again, warming the eyes up, and what we don't want is we don't want the head following on that one. We're going to go to that in a second. Now our VOR is the vestibular ocular reflex, and what that basically allows us to do, if we think about somebody who's doing like a figure skater spinning and they're spotting, right? So what we want to be able to do is, if I hold my finger here, my eye should be able to stay locked as I turn my head side to side. Now if we're really working on this reflex, we actually have to go pretty quick, okay? So it's going to be about this speed, so long as the target we're locked onto isn't getting blurry, or we're not starting to get what's called a proprioceptive sway, or we're not going to go off into space, okay? So again, we're going to use our head in all of these cardinal fields now. So I'm going to go about 10 seconds side to side, 10 seconds in a yes motion, and then we're going to do our diagonals, which these can be tough for people, so make sure you take it slow at first and then kind of get a little faster. So right, up, down, left, and then up, left, down, right. Okay, and this should stay pretty clear. So if you feel you're kind of getting, wonky here, they have somebody watch here, slow it down. It's better to go through it slow and be able to maintain that target. Okay, so that's VOR. Now the VOR cancellation is where I can lock onto the target. Now I'm going to move the target, my head and my eyes all together without any of them breaking apart here. So it's just going to be up and to the right, out to the right, down and right, switch hands, straight up, out to the left, out to the left, down and to the left, straight down, and back to neutral every time. So now we went through, that should only take us 2 minutes once we get it down. Now let me show you how we could use that for golf. So we've had a lot of golfers that come in and they're not necessarily in pain, they just say, I want to increase my rotation. Right? It's a big deal in golf, or a lot of people think it's a big deal. One of the most common findings we see is that they're not able to do one of these little eye execution drills. So what I want to have somebody practice here is cross that golf club over their chest, look at the golf ball. So maybe this is your pre-warm-up on the range. I'm going to spot that golf ball, and all I'm going to do is try to turn rapidly without taking my eyes off of it. And then I'm going to turn rapidly into my downswing or my follow-through. Right? And I'm going to keep going through that. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take a step to the right. So now what's this going to make me do is I go into my backswing, I'm going to have to track harder to the left. So I'm going to challenge my eyes a bit. So it should just look pretty innocuous. If I start seeing something like this, that I'm tilting my head or I'm rotating under, we realize we have a tracking problem. So again, you can pick out some things here, which may mean I need to take a step closer if it's too hard, or I can kind of keep that back foot in line with that ball, rotate through without my head moving, and now I'm really having to get convergence here and divergence here. And now I could do the same thing for my downswing. So I'm coming through, keeping my eyes there, and you can see that I'm getting really good T-spine rotation through here, and also cervical spine rotation, keep my eyes fixed on the target. So that'd be a good way to translate it into a little golf warm-up. Now, for my runners, in particular trail runners, hear a lot of issues with ankle instability, chronic ankle sprains, things like that, and everybody wants to work on ankle stability, right? There's actually a diagnosis code for chronic ankle instability. It's good to work on the ankles, absolutely. We got to make sure that the brain knows what the ankle's doing. So a good challenge here, and this is pretty tough, so we're going to go back to our field sobriety test. So if I'm toeing and I'm walking, and I'm going to just start and make sure I can do this first. Okay, and I'm going to back up so I don't run Sloan into the wall here. Now what I want you to do is my left foot goes forward. I want you to turn and look over your left shoulder, and we're going to try to go back and forth here. And we're taking our eyes with us, and you can see I'm getting knocked off balance. This is tough. So what we're trying to do is basically maintain midline stability while I kind of mess with my vestibular system. And we could do this all sorts of different ways, but the easiest way I like is imagine that I'm a trail runner and I've got a log over here, and I'm gonna have to turn my head while my body's got to keep going this way. I got to make sure I can maintain all that with a visual, vestibular, and proprioceptive system. So again, I could just walk the line, and I'm left foot, turn left, right, turn left, and back and forth like that. So there's two ways to incorporate. You can incorporate a ton of different ways into multiple sports, but just going through that initial warm-up, really good way to kind of fire your brain up. Then you go do whatever other warm-up you want to do. If you have any questions about this, always get a hold of us at Dr. Beau Beard on social media, drbeaubeard@gmail.com. Website's chirofarm.com. I hope you guys got something out of this. We'll see you next time.